Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest in Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a good weekend so far, staying healthy, staying strong. Hi Sammy, welcome to our members. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch, and I highly recommend watching this class because the next class, Speaking Part 3, will be a continuation of this class's topic for Speaking Part 2. So it's a good idea to participate in both classes, and everybody will be able to join the chat in the next class. So this is Speaking Part 2, the cue card, and we're going to discuss how to deliver a Band 9 speech, a little mini speech for this part. The lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there. And then for the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have over 100 hours of video lessons in HD, as well as practice exams, a fully interactive course, and good news, you can still use our discount code CYBERDAY from Cyber Monday to get that 40% discount. That does disappear at the end of this week, and it will not be back for another year. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's a good time to join. Hi Rashika, hi Carolina, welcome to the class. I'll quickly show you what the websites look like. This is aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Of course, here the reading and writing sections are specifically tailored and customized for the academic version of the test. You can click that big red button to join and then use that code CYBERDAY for that 40% discount for today and tomorrow. It will be gone on Monday. And then for the general IELTS at gieltshelp.com, it's the green background. And again, use that code after clicking the big red button. And remember, it's gone on Monday. So make sure to use it today, no later than tomorrow. Of course, there's speaking practice, and you can speak with other students through the websites as well. If anybody has questions, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. I will gladly answer your inquiries as quickly as possible. So again, right now, we'll get into some Speaking Part 2 with an original cue card, and then we'll do Speaking Part 3 in the next class that's coming after this class with a short break. As usual, this time we're back to our regular schedule, so no class on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but we will be releasing a new speaking video for you to use and practice with, so make sure to check for that. And then, of course, I will be back on Wednesday, the 9th at 3 p.m. Central European Standard Time with Speaking Part 1. I will post the schedule for the entire next week of classes on our YouTube community board, so check it out there. Hi, Rajveer. All right, everyone. So welcome, members. I'm looking forward to this class with you. This is speaking, so make sure, I always remind you, I know it's easy to forget sometimes when you're busy typing in the chat, but make sure to speak and repeat, of course, what you hear me say, and copy my English. My accent is West Coast North American, specifically Vancouver, Victoria, Seattle area. But again, if you go down the western seaboard of North America, you'll find most people kind of speak with the same dialect or same style as I do. It's kind of similar to East Coast as well, with some differences. So anyway, it's a clear, crisp style of speech, so definitely a good one to master and learn. Okay, here we go. So into our cue card. So you're doing a great job on your IELTS exam. You go into your speaking interview with confidence. You give the examiner your ID. You present yourself. You have a brief introduction. The examiner asks you a few questions on a general topic for part 1. And then the examiner says, okay, that is the end of part 1. Now for part 2, here is a cue card with some questions on it. You will have 1 minute to read the questions, think about your answer, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. You will have some here's some note paper and a pencil to take some notes in that 1 minute preparation time if you wish. Okay, and then your 1 minute preparation time will begin. You turn over the card, or because of COVID, sometimes they'll just present the card on a board when you're not supposed to touch it. Or if you're doing the computer-based version, they will present the card on the screen at this time. So they'll show it to you. Welcome, Maksud, Bekshan, Firdavs, and I think I mentioned you, Rejvi, already, but if not, welcome. Okay, so you get the card in whichever shape and form, and you look at it, of course, very carefully, and this is what you see. So the first point that you remember from these many, many classes where I've taught you different part 2s is, drum roll, da, 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 da. What do you remember? So what's your first step? You turn it over. This all happens quickly, students. So I know in these classes we take our time. We go through these points meticulously. That's because I want this to be automatic when you're in your IELTS exam. I want this to be just in the tip of your fingers. So what do? You turn over the card. This is what you see. And your step 1 is you read the question carefully and you do what? Yeah, so Beckjan says, read the first sentence twice, right? And that's very, very good advice, okay? You read the question carefully and you read the topic sentence twice, okay? One of the most common mistakes, as I've said oftentimes before, is that students just really read over this first sentence too fast and either miss the main point of that sentence or miss parts of it, okay? You don't have to miss the whole idea, even if you just miss a part of it, right? Talk about a time when you were a part of a team in school or work. If you start talking about a time that you were on a team outside of school and work, so let's say you were in a sports club that's not a part of your school curriculum or your work, the examiner will kind of go, all right, you gave me an answer, but we weren't talking about a sports team in this case that was outside of your work or school, and you missed that part, and that's an important part of this question. So you really do have to read it twice and pay attention to the details, okay? It's absolutely important. It's one of the easiest ways to lose marks is to miss the points, okay? And obviously it's past tense when you were part of a team. So not right now. If you're talking about a team that you're a part of in school or work right now, again, you're likely lose some marks. So you're not going to do as well as you can, and it's going to affect your mark for the second and third part of the speaking. So you're losing marks, okay? So you really do have to read that sentence twice. Okay, so talk about a time when you were part of a team in school or work. Talk about a time when you were part of a team in school or work. Great. Read the rest of the card. When and where was this team? What was the goal of the team? What was your role as team member, or I should say as a team member? Let's correct that a little bit. And then what did you and your team achieve, and would you do anything differently in the future? So quite a bit of information that this card is looking for here, okay? All right, so step 1, you've read the question carefully, you read the topic sentence twice, you have clarity, and I can see that Sammy's saying, well, right now, then, of course, you need to identify the topic and the tense. Yeah, okay, so step 2 is identify the topic and the tense of this cue card, okay? the category, topic, and tense of this cue card. Okay. All right. So what's the category here? Let's tackle that one first. You should follow this order. So first, before you think of the tense, before you think of your topic, think of the category. Okay, so what am I primarily talking about here? Am I talking about a person? Am I talking about an object? Am I talking about a place, an event, or an idea? So what category does this card fit into? It should fit into one of those five, and most of the time it will primarily fit into one of those five. Okay, so Carolina says it's an event. Yeah, it's being part of a team in school or work. So this is an event that took place. Absolutely. Okay, a team event, a team project, if you will. So it was an event. Okay. And then before you start thinking about the topic and the tense, so really let's just go step by step this time, members. So when we're talking about an event, what are the key points or the main points in the correct order to keep in mind when I'm talking about an event? So if I talk about an event, what main points should I tell my listener, regardless of the questions on the card, because I will likely be answering those anyway, but at least in good structure. Okay, so what's the right order? Okay, so Rajveer says time, reason, attendees, activities, results, and experience. Okay, so Carolina says, let's talk about location first. Time, attendees, activities, significance. So good. Okay, so Rajveer, Carolina, you're very, very close, and I think both of those will work. Okay, definitely the location is good to give. Bekshan says time and place. Yeah, I mean, if you say time first and then the place, or if you say place first and then the time, I think it's okay. All right, you shouldn't spend too much time on those two anyway. So first time, then place, or place, then time. It's okay. All right. So let's go time, location, and then attendees. Yeah, who was there, right? It makes sense. Activities, experience or results, right? Here. Significance. Sure. Okay. So a couple different ways to coin this, but this is basically the logic here. Okay. It makes sense. So first tell your listener when it happened. Tell them where it happened. Okay. So when we have the clock, okay, and then we have the place, and then we have the people, okay, and then we have the activities. This is me drawing two people dancing. Let's make this one a girl, this one a boy. That's supposed to be a shorts. Okay. All right. So dancing. Okay. Plus, oh, you fell in love. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So I just wanted to quickly visually present this for you. So if I'm talking about an event, then this makes a lot of logical sense. So when it happened, the place it happened, the people that were there, dancing, what happened there, and ooh, you fell in love, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that gives a lot of structure and clarity for your audience. So following this structure always makes sense within the context of the cue card, of course. Okay, all right. Okay, so think about it that way. Visualize. All right. So it's an event, and next, let's identify the topic. So when we're talking about this event, we're thinking about it in the right topic. Okay. All right. So what's the topic here? What are we talking about in this cue card? Talk about a time when you were part of a team in school or work. What are we really talking about here? In a simple way. keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's the IELTS. You're not giving a presentation to the World Health Organization or something like that, okay? So keep it simple, okay? So Rashika says teamwork in school. Yeah, or work, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Rajveer says a team event. And Bekjan says it's a team project. Yeah, absolutely. So team project at work or school. Okay? Just give me a second. I'll get you back on screen here. A little moment of joy there with my daughter. Okay, so it's a team project at work or school. Don't forget that work or school part. Remember, I said that's very important. Okay, so pay attention to detail when you're thinking about what the topic is, the specific topic. Okay, don't lose that. Otherwise, you could get yourself into trouble. Okay, all right. Okay, so good. Now we look at the tense. Okay, so time frame is another way to think about it. Okay, so what tense are we using here? And I think some of you already said it. So we're using the past. Okay, so you should be thinking past, past perfect, past progressive, and maybe a bit of present perfect as well. Okay, so but you're primarily thinking about past, past perfect, past progressive. The examiner is looking for this kind of grammar structure when they are giving you a cue card like this. Okay, now this is also a bit of a caution to many people. I know that some people learn this or have seen this kind of past, present, future strategy. So careful with the past, present, future strategy, as it does not apply in all cue cards. In this case, it would be a bit awkward. Okay, so giving too much information about the present and the future for this cue card would really seem awkward. The examiner would go, okay, this student is trying some kind of weird IELTS strategy they picked up, but it's not making sense, so you're losing marks, okay? So careful with that. All right, good. So step 3. You've got all this, okay? You've got a clear path. You know what you need to do. Your brain is in order, which is great. And then you go to step 3. Step 3 is very important. Here's where you do some good critical thinking, some good visualization, some good thinking outside the box. And here in this case, with a teamwork or team project, you might actually come up with some real projects that you've worked on. But be careful, okay? Some projects are quite difficult to talk about. Even as a native English speaker, I think I would have trouble with some projects. Are original and easy to talk about. Okay, so good. Give me some ideas. So what are some good ideas for teamwork that you might talk about at this point? So let's say that you're having trouble remembering any kind of group or teamwork that you've really done recently. So you have to be creative. You have to come up with some. Of course, we need to work on the same idea in this class. So even if you have your own original thoughts, try to think of one that's original and easy to talk about. I know I've got a couple ideas in my head when I visualize my school years, my university years, my job. So Rajveer says a sports event at a workplace. Rajveer, it's a good start of an idea. Try to be more specific. So can you tell me what sports event at the workplace and for what part of the work? Okay, so can you give me a little bit of a more specific idea, Rajveer? Okay. Maksud says football with classmates. Maksud, I don't think that would be original. I think that would be a very common pick for many, many people, especially men. So football with classmates, I say avoid it. okay? The examiner might even get bored, although they might not show it. Okay, so think of another one, Maksud. Okay. Rashika says artwork, art competition, watercolor painting. Okay. I'm not sure how a watercolor painting in a group would work out, but I think you have a good idea there, Rashika. Maybe try to be a little bit more visual. So an artwork could be a good one. I don't know about watercolors or painting with watercolors. I think you can be a little bit more creative with that, with the artwork of what it is and what your team needed to do in school. Yeah, absolutely. I think you have a good start, but I think it can be better. Okay. Sammy says, I prefer some sport at school. That's okay, Sammy, but again, be specific. So you say volleyball at school. What is it? Okay, what kind of a volleyball tournament is it? And what is it in this school? So try to be a little bit more specific. Carolina says basketball at school. Okay, all right. Maybe instead of being on a team for basketball, maybe you organized a sports event. So that's thinking outside of the box, okay? So sports teams would be very popular picks here, and I think that your examiner would kind of be like, oh, okay, another football team won, another basketball team won. But if you take it one step further and do something like this, organized a 3-on-3 basketball tournament for junior high students in high school. Okay, so I gave a little bit more information here. Do you see how that would be fairly easy to talk about if you're talking about basketball? And it would be much more interesting than talking about how you were part of a basketball team, which could actually be a lot trickier because there you have to know many more technical words for basketball. Okay, all right. Fennel says an automobile technical fair. Okay, Fennel, that's again a good idea, but take it one step further. So what is your team project? What are you doing at that automobile technical fair? What are you presenting? A new car part. Okay, again, careful, make sure you know how to talk about it. If your team developed a new type of transmission that is more effective and you presented it at an automobile technical fair, that's great. Just make sure that you can talk about automobiles and automobile parts like transmission and how that works. Okay, so careful. Okay, so I'm really pushing you here to be creative with your ideas. All right. Okay. Beckjohn says creating a chopping website at university. Oh, I think Beckjohn, you meant shopping website. Okay, Beckjohn, that would be an e-commerce website. So a shopping portal would be an e-commerce website. It's quite complex. Careful. You might get into some really technical English there to get a high band. And you want to be more specific, Beckjohn. What kind of a shopping website? For electronics, for everything in general, like Amazon, I would stay away from that. For university books, maybe. Okay, so I'll write that down just as an idea. Okay, here we go. So made an e-commerce website for used sports equipment in university computer class. Okay. All right. So again, take it one step further, right, Beckjohn? So made an e-commerce website for used sports equipment in a university computer class. Okay. So crystallize your ideas. That's kind of the key word of today is crystallize your ideas. Okay. Be specific. Okay. Okay, I'm still looking for one more, and then we'll take a vote. So we've got a couple good ideas up there now. Okay, Beckjohn says, organizing a charity shop at university with cohorts. That's very good. Yeah, or you could do that with the workplace as well. So organizing a volunteer group for charity at work to help the elderly, maybe, something like that. Okay. Tito says, chart art on hand washing techniques, group competition. Okay. Yeah, very good. I like that one, Rajveer. Very good. Okay. Organized a blood donation camp at my workplace. Okay. And we got to figure out your workplace here, okay? I'm just making this up. Hopefully there's no IT office out there called Fizzle, but organize the blood donation camp at my Fizzle IT office, okay? All right, good. Okay, so I saw some good ideas there. Again, lots of those ideas are great starts. You need to just develop them and be more specific. So here we go. Let's pick from these three so we can all work on them, okay? And I'm trying to pay attention to our demographics, right? That we have both men, women in our classes and from different cultures. So I think these three are possible regardless of who you are, where you are in the world. Okay, so number one, organize the 3-on-3 basketball tournament for junior high students. Made an e-commerce websites for used sports equipment in university computer class, or organized a blood donation camp at my Fizzle IT office. Which one should we do? 1, 2, or 3? I'll take some votes. I see some of you are really on it. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, we can try blood donation. Sure. Why not? We've got 3 votes for that so far, which is definitely the most popular. I'm not sure if it's the easiest one, but hey, one way to find out, to try it. Okay. All right. Let's do it. So blood donation it is. That's always a valiant ever. Okay. All right. So that's the choice. And now we need to plan our notes, right? So the next step is jot down some useful notes quickly and your first sentence before sentence, oops, T, sentence, before your 1 minute is up. Okay. All right. Now, when you're jotting down those notes, okay, so of course what you need to do, what should you do? Okay, instead of me telling you this here, okay, so when you're jotting down the notes, what do you need to do? What is a really important step to take when you're jotting down these notes? Okay, which will really help you to perform better. Sammy, I see that you're already jotting down the notes, which is good. Rajveer, the same. What's important to keep in mind? Okay. Carolina, yeah, the order of the category, right? Absolutely, yeah. Keep in mind the order of the category, okay? And I think that Rajveer and Sammy are doing that. So time, location, right? It's very good. Okay. So 2018, July. So make sure you're believable. Okay. You wouldn't be organizing a blood donation camp right now with COVID going on, and it's been going on for quite some time. Blood donation is usually done in the summer months. Not always, but oftentimes, okay? So 2018, July. Okay, that's the time. Wipro Technologies, sure, that's what Sammy says. I said Fizzle IT office, but we can call it Wipro Tech. Okay. Now, here, keep in mind when you're doing this, okay, immediately you should be thinking that when you use these notes, you should be applying some of those tenses that we talked about as well, right? So the past perfect. So here, this is just a side note. Just personally, this is where I would use a past perfect tense, okay? Now, I'll show you what I mean by that later. That's just a mental note, so you wouldn't write that down. Okay, it's too much time, all right? Okay, so Wipro Tech, so that's location, but that's probably not enough for location, because where is this happening? So where are people giving blood? You have to be very visual. Where do people usually give blood? Okay, so if you organize this blood donation clinic or camp, as Rajveer said, where would you do it? You wouldn't just do it generally in the office. You wouldn't have a nurse walking around and sticking needles into people with plastic bags. So where would you do it? Okay. Okay, so Sammy says auditorium, but what kind of auditorium? Okay, so Bekjan says a booth on the street. Okay. All right, Carolina says a van. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Carolina. So it's a blood donation van in the parking lot, okay? Or RV or truck, you could also say. Now again, this is where, you have to be careful, because this is what I said to you. It seems easy, but there are a couple of tricky situations that you might get into with a blood donation clinic, okay? All right, so donation van in parking lot. And with the time as well, you'd probably want to add a little bit more, because blood donations usually don't just happen on one day. Maybe it would be 3 days. Okay. They usually happen over a few days. So again, visualize and pay attention to detail. Okay. All right. So now we have the time, the location, we have enough information there, and we're looking for the attendees. Okay? So who was there? Who should we mention here? So Sammy says some doctors from Apollo Hospital. Usually it's done by nurses. Okay, sure. Before I would talk about the doctors and the people involved in the donation process, I would probably talk about who was in my team. Don't forget, we're not talking about the blood donation. We're talking about the team work here, okay? This is where you have to keep in mind your topic. Don't stray from your topic. So here again, just a reminder, okay? Do not stray from your topic of teamwork. Okay? You have to concentrate your responses on this concept. So who actually did this organization? Who were your teammates? Obviously for Dobbs, it wouldn't be all 80 employees in your company. Okay? It would probably just be a smaller group. I don't think you would need 10 people to organize a blood donation clinic. Okay? So who would it be? Okay, be specific here. All right? So here I would go like this. Okay, 3 members. HR manager, all right? Because obviously the HR would likely be involved in something like this. Okay, all right. The marketing manager, why? Because it would be good to have someone who's able to market this in your company, right? So you probably take the marketing manager and yourself, okay? And who are you? Okay. So be creative for Dobbs. It's okay to say me and my 2 coworkers, but who are those 2 coworkers, right? So right away I would think HR or an HR manager or an HR rep would be a key person here. And advertising, okay? And let's say you're the team leader, so myself, project manager. Okay, so let's say your role is as a project manager in the company. That would make sense, right? So you're leading the group, you're the project manager, and you take on board a marketing manager and an HR manager for this project, okay? Quick thinking, right? Quick thinking, quick visualization if you're picturing this, okay? All right. Now you can get into docs, nurses, Apollo Hospital, 80 co-workers donate. Okay, good. Now we get into activities. So give me some ideas for activities. Okay, nice and quick. Nice and quick. Activities. What are you doing? Again, keep teamwork in mind here. You have the hierarchy now, okay? And if you're a very visual person, on your note paper here, you might even start doing something like this, where you're the project manager, and here you have the marketing manager, and here you have the HR, okay? So now you might start doing something like this, where you build a little bit of a flow chart, and then you can go schedule, assess, contact, right? Email, visual ads, something like that. So see, I'm using this kind of concept here of me at the top as the leader, and then the marketing manager and HR working on their areas of specialty. So HR emailing and organizing with hospital. Okay, so something like that. All right. Okay. Ferdov says, bought some gifts for attendees, so thank you gifts. Sure. Okay. Thank you gifts. Yeah, that could be it as well. Okay. So good. Okay. You don't have to write notes just like this in bullet form. For some cue card questions or some parts of your thinking, it might be better to build a fish chart or a mind map, something like that. If you're not sure what fish charts, mind maps, and different kinds of mental maps are called, or mnemonic devices, you can definitely find out more about that on our websites. We have some great information on those there, and they're very useful in some parts of the exam, absolutely. Okay, all right. So, contact, buy gifts. Okay. Communicate, advertise. Okay, so I'm just going to stay with those for now. Okay. All right, probably food and water as well. So food, water. Okay. They always usually provide that for these kinds of blood donation clinics, just so people are hydrated and have food in their body. Otherwise, you might have people fainting. Okay, so what were the results? Let's just keep rolling here real quickly. What were the results? Okay. How did this all end? Okay, think of results. And again, be visual. So let's say you had 80 coworkers donate. Okay. Okay, so results. improve company morale. Sure. Okay. Instead of everybody happy, try to be a little bit more creative. Okay. How much blood did you donate? Or how much blood was donated? Okay. Maybe you got an award from the hospital. Okay. Ferdov says people were exhausted after that. Okay. Okay, and let's go 40 liters of blood, right? So let's say each person donates roughly half a liter of blood. You got 80 coworkers donating. That's about 40 liters of blood, okay? No, be well over 100 bags. Okay? All right, sure. Okay, so we're running out of time now for our 1 minute. So we need to think about our first sentence. So let's get our first sentence down. Okay. Here we go. So you're almost done your 1 minute preparation time. You have about 10 seconds left. You quickly think about your first sentence. If you have time, write it down so that when the examiner says your time is up, please begin speaking, you can very, very quickly start speaking. Okay? So give me your first sentence. Don't overthink it. Keep it clean. Keep it simple. Make sure there's no mistakes. It sounds really bad when a student starts with a bad sentence or a grammatically incorrect sentence for their cue card response. Okay, so make sure that your cue card response starts with a good, clear, accurate sentence. Okay, I'd like to use one of yours. All right. I think for Dobbs that's going a little bit too far down the rabbit hole to state how many patients you saved or how many people you helped. I mean, you might mention that at the end, but again, remember your goal for Dobbs is the topic, the teamwork, okay? All right, so Sammy says, the most memorable event that I can't forget is arranging a blood donation camp in my office, Wipro Technologies. Sammy, one big mistake there. It doesn't reflect the topic, okay? Rajveer says, a time when I played a key role as part of a team was when I organized a blood donation camp at Wipro Tech Limited. Very good, Rajveer. That's good because you're stating the topic when I was part of a team. Beckjan says, one of the best team projects I participated in is a blood donation camp which took place in the summer of 2018. Very good. So good job that you are remembering to include the topic into this response, okay? So, an extremely rewarding, and I can even say personally rewarding team project that I had the pleasure of managing was a blood donation clinic. I use clinic. I've heard camp before. I usually use clinic. So blood donation camp at my previous workplace. Okay, this is all in the past. So I'm moving everything into the past here. Okay, at my previous workplace back in the summer of 2018. And let's mention that workplace up here. Okay, so what do we call that? This workplace? I'm not familiar with it. Maybe it's a big company, but okay. It's called Wipro Tech. Okay. Okay. All right, so that's my first sentence. Okay, members, so here we go. We got about 6-7 minutes to complete this little mini speech. So I'm going to type, you're going to type, I'm going to reflect on what you're typing. So I will check the chat intermittently, okay, for your responses. What's important now for us is to move through all of our points of discussing an event or explaining an event, using our notes to help us, keeping the topic in mind, and of course, making sure not to forget about the actual questions on the cue card as well. So we want to make sure that we want to answer all of these. Pay attention, especially here. Would you do anything differently in the future? Okay. All right, so let's do this. So I'm going to leave the fluency part up to you. Some of you are more fluent than others, so here's your chance to shine and just really, really get going. Okay. So, all right. So I was the project manager. I'm going to be a little bit quiet so you can think. All right, let's see what you have. So, Beckjohn says, one of the best team project I participated in. Okay, I see that. I already read that, so I'm not going to read that again. Ferdav says, as project manager, I organized this event in order to enhance group spirit. Beckjohn says, this rewarding team project was organized by me with two of my coworkers, HR and marketing manager, in the parking lot in the van. Okay, careful, Beckjohn. It sounds like you're organizing the event with the other two members in a van in the parking lot. So make sure that you have clarity, okay? Don't try to say too much too quickly. I've seen students do that and it gets a little bit awkward, okay? You might get a smile out of your examiner, but it's not going to help the scores, so careful, okay? All right, Rajveer says, this took place in a donation van parked on the ground floor, and I was the project manager for this activity. Okay, you're in the right direction, Rajveer. Also, we invited nurses from the nearest government clinic and announced our blood donation campaign on the entrance of the company. Okay. Sammy says, I was so happy to be part of the event. Initially, I contacted my HR and marketing manager to plan the event and gathered the required budget, or got approved for the required budget. Okay, very good. Nice writing, students. Hopefully you're also saying this, right? Okay, very good. So, Okay. So here I'm talking about who's doing what. Okay. Okay. So, you probably just saw me madly typing away there. I took a little bit of a different approach this time. Sammy says, further, we sought some help from Apollo Hospital. Around 3 to 4 nurses aided us, and around 60 to 70 of my people donated blood, each about 200 milliliters. We provided some juice for the donors. Very good, Sammy. Okay, I see some really nice writing, and here I was just pushing a bit to get to the end of this, and I want to go over it with you now. So just drop what you're doing. I really respect the effort that you're putting in. I just wanted to show you some fluency there as well. So now just drop what you're doing and let's do this. Let's speak together. So I was paying attention to the card. I was paying attention to my notes as well. Okay, let's do this. So let's speak and repeat. Okay, here we go. So, an extremely rewarding experience that I had the pleasure of managing, a team project, was a blood donation camp at my previous workplace, YPro. Let me just make a correction here and let's start this one more time. Okay, let's do it this way. All right, here we go. One more time from the top. So a personally rewarding team project that I had the pleasure of managing was a blood donation camp at my previous workplace, YPro Tech, back in the summer of 2018. I was the project manager with 2 other coworkers, the head of HR, Steve, and our marketing manager, Sarah. Each of us had a distinct role to play in successfully executing this project. Our idea was to aid the local community by donating at least 100 units or bags of blood over the course of 3 days. And I got approved for a $2,000 budget for this campaign to pay for advertising, food, beverages, and some gifts. I had the marketing manager put together the posters for the campaign, as well as the graphics for the email newsletters, which Sarah sent out via the company's mailing list. We had a blood donation van set up in the parking lot. A doctor and nurses from our local Apollo General. The event was quite successful. It had been attended by over 80 of our employees, and we had successfully donated well over 100 bags of blood. It was a very gratifying experience for those involved, and I felt that it had also helped to build team spirit within the company. If I were to do the event in the future, I wouldn't change much except perhaps the timeline. I felt there was an unnecessary amount of pressure because we only had around 2 weeks from start to finish. In the future, I would allocate at least 3 weeks to a similar type of team project. Okay, good. So a lot of past tense, past progressive. Okay, there's a lot of different types of grammar in there, actually. Even grammar relating to what you had other people do, which is really nice. Okay, and obviously focusing on team project. Notice how I really make sure to bring it back to the concept of team project and being on a team in the end. I actually do that twice. Okay, so that's what this response looks like. And as long as you go through the planning stages, you will do well. Okay, and you will be able to execute your response quickly, smoothly, and it will be well structured. So notice how well this is structured because we put it together effectively. Okay, students, so soon in 30 minutes, we'll continue from here with part 3 questions, of course, connected to this part 2, dealing with teamwork. Okay, so make sure to hang around for that. Good job, everyone. Again, practice your fluency, so speed as well. Okay, you're very welcome, Sammy. Good job, Rajveer, Bekja, and Carolina. Please be sure to join in on the next class. Well done for Dobbs. Hopefully, I'll see you there. I'll make a couple of slight typo corrections in the meantime to this as well. You probably caught those. For everybody watching, remember to visit aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, and our discount code CYBERDAY, giving you a 40% discount there, will be ending tomorrow, so make sure to use that today. Okay, cool. So stick around for some more practice. In the meantime, take a deep breath, maybe have a cup of tea, some snacks, and I'll see you soon. I'm Adrian, signing out for now from Budapest. Bye.